So last time the stopping point was chapter 10,
Yes.
named The Forest of Death. And today we are jumping into chapter 11, A Changed Man. With me, your man, as always, Ahmad Garba Inwa, and the co-host here is Ahmad Musa, popularly known as the Musa Tech.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. This is our this 9th or 8th week of reading the book An African Night's Entertainment, written by Sapirian Ekwensi. Today we are going into chapter 11, right? So listen attentively.
So thank you, Malam Ahmad. And then, as you just heard, our dear SM listeners, or if you like spectators or viewers, and then at the same time, if you have been following this our channel or our reading, so last time the stopping point was chapter 10,
Yes.
named The Forest of Death. And today we are jumping into chapter 11, A Changed Man. With me, your man, as always, Ahmad Garba Inwa, and the co-host here is Ahmad Musa, popularly known as the Musa Tech. So the hairy hunter was very surprised to see him back. You are the first man ever to go into that wood and come back alive, he declared. Abu wasted no time there. As soon as it was dawn, he made his way back to the home of Tosai's father.
Yes.
He traveled for several months before he reached it, and when at last knocked at the old man's door, and it was opened to him, all the people stared at him as if he was someone monstrous stranger. "Who are you?" came the old man's voice from within. "I am the man whom your son sent to get some gum from a deadly tree in Kurmin Rukwiki." "How can that be? The man who came here was young and handsome. He had 2 ears and 2 eyes." Abu felt ashamed of himself. "Can you remember how long ago that was? Do you think you yourself are still as young as you are then? Sit down, man, and don't waste any more of my time. I am the man to whom you gave 5 pounds and a horse, also a god. Now, all those things, except only the god, were taken from me. This is not the time to ask me what happened. What you should ask is, did you get what you went for?" The old man was surprised, but still inconvenienced. Then Abu put his hand into his clothes, and from his undergarments produced the charm that Tosai had given him. "Do you remember this?" "Ah," exclaimed the old man. At once he ordered the servants to attend Abu and feed him as best they could. Abu remained there for 4 days, and then he said to Tosai's father, "I am ready to go. But first, I have a duty to your son. Where is that brother of his whom he wanted to see?" The man was called forth, and that night preparations were made for the departure next day. Abu and Tosai's brother left in the early hours of the morning, each man riding a horse, with a plentiful supply of money and provisions. Tausayin Kadasau'i did not recognize either his own brother or Abu Bakr. "Who are you?" he asked. "I am Abu Bakr, whom you sent to Krimirupiki. This is your brother. You remember my promise?" At that, Tausais had faced softened with joy. He asked, "Is this how you have suffered? What does that matter when I have got what I wanted?" "You have got it?" Abu produced the gourd, and Tausai looked at it with great happiness. Tausai asked his brother about the family and learned that his mother was long since dead, but that his father was still living. He gave the two travelers beds to rest upon. In the morning, he prepared a parcel of clothes and food for his old father and bade farewell to his brother. "I have not the courage to come back home," he said. "Give the old man my blessings. I have indeed wronged the community and cannot show my face before them. This town is the place for my people of my kind who have fled from the evil they have done." The brother thanked him and went on. "Whenever you can find the time, come and see me. Someday, perhaps I may be able to come home." His brother left, and he set to work preparing Abu's medicine. He mixed the sap from the poisonous tree with a little antimony that women use for their eyes, and a few other ingredients known only to him. He was careful not to touch the pure sap with his bare hands, but when the mixture was made, he said it was safe if quickly washed up. "This is how you should use the mixture," he said. When he had finished, "Do your best to rub it on the skin of Malam Sheikhu's son. You can easily do that when the boy is asleep. At the same time, cut some hair from his head and bury it in a newly dug grave. That is all you need to do." "But how am I to do all this without being seen?" "I have thought of that. I have here," said Tausai, holding up a black talisman, what we call lianzana. With this on your person, you can go where you will and no one will see you. You will be invisible." "Is that all I have to do?" "Yes." "And what is your fee?" My only fee is the punishment which will be upon your head, just as we agreed from the first time. Goodbye." Abu went back to his native Galma. His mother did not know him any longer. She said, she had grown old, and he himself had become so disfigured that no one recognized him. His elder brother, whom he had told to take care of her, stared at his thought. He was a stranger. Abu spoke to him, and as soon as he heard his voice, his mother ran up to him and embraced him. "Abu Bakr, can this be you? With one eye and one ear? Oh, my son." Weeping, she led him into the house and put a pot on the fire. She boiled water for a bath, and when he had cleaned himself, there was great rejoicing within the family. He and his brother were soon left alone to exchange old memories. "Your friend Zenobe had got a child. He is such a lovely boy that you cannot fail to like this. He passes here every morning on his way to school. As soon as you see him, you will recognize him." "Is that so?" rejoined Abu. pretending not to be much interested. He told none of his family how he had fared on his journey, but remarked carelessly, "Will you show the boy to me when he passes here?" Next morning, when Zainab's son was passing on his way to school with 10 other boys, Abu brother called him out to see him. Abu ran out and was amazed to see how big and handsome the boy had grown. The boy greeted them and passed on his way. Abu went back into the house and cautioned his mother and brother not to reveal his identity to anybody in the town. "If anybody in this town knows that I am back, I will be terrible for you. I shall kill both of you and still do what I intended to do." Mother and son were startled but said nothing. "Where does this boy sleep?" Abu asked. Abu's brother said his father has built a house in the middle of the courtyard, and no one else goes into it. There he sleeps. But why do you ask? Oh, it is nothing. So that's the end of chapter 11. Now chapter 12. But I think it will be better off if I hand everything over to Malam Muhammad.
So before we go into this chapter 12, we need to discuss some words from the story.
Yes.
Za mu tattauna akan wasu kalmomi da suke a cikin labarin.
Musamman
mai sauraro ya san kalmomin, sannan kuma a ji thematic concept na iya chapter. Wato chapter ne ma ta mai da hankali akai. To a nan ciki abinda na fahimta akan chapter nan, shi Abu dai mutum ne gardababbe kuma bai da yafiya.
Baya ɗaukar shawara.
Ba ɗaukar shawara, gaskiya ne, ba haƙuri. Kaga za mu ce Abu is a merciless person. Ko ba ka ba, Abu mutum ne mara haƙuri kuma ba yafiya a tattare da shi na maimaita. Sannan akwai kalmomi kamar irin su talisman. Wanda bai san me talisman ba, talisman ita ce laya. Layar amma sai suka ce layar zana, amma talisman
an sa mata kalmar black ne. An ce black, holding up a black talisman.
To ka gani, saboda idan mutum zai disha shi a inda zai wajen zai bace,
it will render somebody invisible. Kuma ba iya da yake su turawa suna da wata al'ada, mu anan mukan iya rarrabawa. Duk wani abu da zai zama na charm ne, mu anan mukan bashi talisman, amma guru ma yana daukar talisman.
Gaskiya ne.
Abin nan semantically ana amfani da wannan. Sannan kuma ga kalmar antimony, yana nufin kwalli, abinda muke sanyawa. Shi yasa ku a ciki ma suka ce that women use for their eyes. Sai kuma poisonous ko? Yes, akwai inda muka gani poisonous daga inda aka ce from the poisonous tree. So daga dai kalmar poison, yawwa poisonous kuma mai poison din wanda za ta iya cutarwa mai dafa. Yes. Sannan akwai kalmar da na gani ita ma anan tana da matukar muhimmanci a ce mun dauko ta inda ta zo kusa. Tana da muhimmanci kalmar
haka Abu a tafiyarsa an cire masa kunne, an cire haƙuri,
ido ya rasa idon fashi, an rasa yayi yari, yayi ayyukan wahala a gani,
saboda kawai ya rasa wanda zai aura, bai haƙura ba har da ya dawo ma inda za mu yi mamaki a ce kauna da take tsakanin mahaifiya da ɗanta, a ce mahaifiyarka ba ta gane ka ba kuma son kwamfani ya yawa. Yan gari kaf ɗan uwansa ma mamaki suke ya tsufa. Gaskiya ne.
Saboda wahala da sauran da aka je aka bashi. Akwai inda ɗan fashi ne ma yake gaya masa, is she the only beautiful woman in the town? Why can't you marry another? Wai me yasa ba za ka auri wata ba?
Gaskiya ne.
Akwai waɗanda suka gaya masa all sort of things kamar like leave Allah alone to avoid irin ka bar ma Allah.
Allah zai bi
ka. Tunda mun yarda cewa idan ka bari Allah zai saka ma da mafificin alkhairi.
Gaskiya ne.
To Abu duk bai ji ba. To yanzu mun zo daidai inda
sabarin Jamila.
To kaga yanzu mun zo daidai inda zamu ga to me Abu zai ga yawa kalmar da nake son yi magana akai ga tana gani undergarments yana nufin kayan ciki abinda muke ce yawa sutura ciki kamar singileti da wando na ciki to yawa undergarment yawa thank you so much kalmar asali wadda nake neman ba wannan bace startle ce so na san mutane da yawa ba lallai kansu ya kai kalmar startle tana nufin tsoro ba kamar misali irin like I'm afraid I'm scared irin kamar misali yawa to ina tsoro kuma so in zaka ce wani ya tsorata ka zaka iya cewa like you startled me startled so ba kowa ne ya san ta ba dan kusan malaman turanci ma malaman mu za ku ga ba su su kansu amfani da ita ba shi yasa ba ta zuwa cikin kunnuwan mutane to ita ma mun ganta a cikin nan zaka je inda tace mother and son were startled so sun tsorata shine munin startled
gaskiya ne
like they were afraid
akwai lokacin da nake bincike a irin BBC learning English
yawa
lokacin da aka wasu kalmomi na tsoro har da wannan
yawa
afraid scared
yawa
startled wajen kalmomi nawa ne suna da dama.
So Mala Ahmad, is there anything that you can say we haven't yet discussed concerning the chapter we just read, chapter 11?
We discussed everything.
Also,
we are moving to the next chapter.
Yes, so I think things will be better off, as I said, if I handed everything over to you.
Thank
so
you
yes, you can continue with
So now we are heading into chapter 12, that is the madness of Kyauta. It opens with, at night, Abu Bakr put on his lion zana, that is talisman that was said to render a man invisible.
Yes.
He went into the room where the boy slept. He smeared him with a magic preparation and with a pair of scissors cut off some hair from his head. He mixed this hair with the preparation, washed his hands, and then went to the house where Zainab slept, placing a hand on her. He shook her. Zainab turned in her sleep. Get up. It is I, your true husband. Abu Bakr, he stared through sleep-dimmed eyes like one hypnotized. Because of the lion zana, she saw nothing. His voice came in a drone. Listen to what I have to say. You have disgraced me. You have caused me untold suffering. It is written that you shall pay for all this in this world. Your present husband took you away from me because he wanted a son. That shall be a curse to you. He left her abruptly and with his back against the wall seemed to melt into the night. As soon as he was outside, he made his way to the graveyard where he buried the hair of Kyauta, Zainab's son. Zainab awoke soon after, trembling with fear. I have had a terrible dream, she screamed, going at once to make sure that her son was still alive. She found Kyauta fast asleep, breathing peacefully. Zainab sighed with relief and went back to her bed. But morning found her still sleepless. It would have been silly to recount what she imagined was dream, so she told no one about it. That morning, Kyauta did not come as usual to greet his parents. He got up and, without washing his feet in the water which his mother kept for him, the kettle went into his father's house and took There is somewhere is missing. 1 shilling from the sheepskin. With this, he went towards the main gate, and when the guard questioned him, he said, "Where am I going?" Okay, he asked, "Where are you going? What business is it of yours? Am I a thief? But you have never got up so early, you never spoken so rudely to us." "Nonsense, let me pass." The startled gate man shrank back and Kyauta swept past them. He made his way straight to the bicycle shade in the middle of the town, and having paid 2 shillings, took a cycle out and began to ride it aimlessly through the streets. Zainab thought the boy had gone to see her to go. Zainab thought the boy had gone to see his father, while Malam Shehu thought that Kyauta was detained by his mother. When Malam Shehu got up, he went to the bedroom. He went to the bathroom. So there are some places missing.
Yes, so the unused water.
The unused water which Zainab had placed for the boy. But not a sign of his son at last. He went into his wife's room. "Zainab, what are you doing there with Kyauta? Don't you know it is time for school? Why do you keep him?" The woman came out at once and replied, "I thought the boy was with you. Did you not send for him?" The old man whistled. He went indoors, sweeping his large gown before him. Next, he went to the gate and asked the men on guard whether they had seen Kyauta. "Yes, we have seen him. It was very early in the morning, and he spoke very rudely to us. We thought he was going to school, but it was too early. We were surprised at his behaviors." "And you didn't stop him?" "Why should we? We thought you might have sent him." Malam Shehu at once sent a man to the school, but there the teachers told them that the boy was not present. In fact, the teacher himself was on point of sending someone to find out whether there was something matter with the boy. Shehu sent people to all over the town, and at last the boy was found in the company of the bicycle hirers, people known for their loose manner and fakeless outlook upon life. He was dragged home, and his father asked him, "Why did you deceive the gate man? Why did you not tell them you are running away from home?" He said, "Nothing." "Do you know who took 2 shillings I placed on my sheepskin? I object to bring question in this manner. Do you keep me in the house as a watchman? I don't know anything about your rate 2 shillings. Malam Shehu was surprised at this rude reply, and Zainab told him not to lose his temper, but to give her a chance to speak privately to the boy.
She thought she knew how to say it about it. She prepared him his favorite meal, stew with chicken, and laid out a clean table. Kyauta was in his room when her message reached him. Tell her I will be there soon. She waited and waited, but he did not come. So she sent the messenger again. And when Kyauta appeared, he looked angrily at everything she had prepared for him. With his left hand, he felt the food. Then he faced her, his eyes blazing. This cold food for me? Am I a dog? He gave one kick to the table, and all crockery tumbled to the floor and was smashed to fragments. Zenobe began to cry. The dream of the previous night came back to her. Perhaps Kyauta's changed attitudes were part of what had been revealed to her. She watched her son's movements with some anxiety, but even then she did not notice when she slept outside the compound. It was later that afternoon when an infuriated mob gathered outside Malam Shehu's gate, molding a bleeding Kyauta before them. He stole my donkey, shouted the roughly dressed farmer. He gambled with it and lost it. And the man to whom he lost it has sold it back to me. I want my money back. Without question, Malam Shehu paid the money, his due, and the mob departed in peace. He took the boy indoors and placed him under lock and key. One thing worried him. He was a man who had publicity bringing him. He paid a number of strong men to take his son to school and to bring him back when school was over. But even at school, it was difficult to control him. He stole slates from one boy and sold to another. He caused his friends' fathers, and within a short time, the attendance at the school had been reduced to less than half. The parents were withdrawing their children because of Kyauta. Malam Shehu spent sleepless nights trying to discover a way by which he could keep the boy under check. But every day the boy grew worse. All the medicine men he called charged him fabulous amount, and after they had prescribed a course of treatment for him, the boy grew rapidly worse. Very soon, the villagers became tired of carrying reports to his behaviors to the father himself. They prepared to approach the king. Because of all this, Shehu dared not to appear in public. He hid himself in shame. And even within his own household, the two other women spent most of their time laughing at him. They would giggle at Zenobe. And
Malam Shehu at once sent a man to the school, but there the teacher told them that the boy was not present. In fact, the teacher himself was on the point of sending someone to find out whether there was something matter with the boy. Shehu sent people all over the town, and at last the boy was found in the company of bicycle hires. People known for their loose manners and fake always out look upon life. He was dragged home, and his father asked him, "Why did you deceive the gate man?" Why did you not to tell them you were running away from home? He said nothing. Do you know who took 2 shillings I placed on my sheepskin? I object to being questioned in this manner. Do you keep me in the house as a watchman? I don't know about that. I don't know about your wretched 2 shillings. Malam Shehu was surprised at this rude reply, and Zainab told him not to lose his temper, but to give her a chance to speak privately to the boy. She thought she knew how to set about it. She prepared him his favorite meal, stew with chicken, and laid out a clean table. Kyota was in his room when her message reached him. Tell her I will be there soon. She waited and waited, but he did not come. So she sent the messenger again, and when Kyota appeared, he looked angrily at everything she had prepared for him. With his left hand, he fell to the food. Then he faced her, his eyes blazing. Is this called food for me? Am I a dog? He gave one kick to the table, and all the cookery tumbled to the floor and was smashed to fragments. Zainab began to cry. This is mother. Yes. Watching. The dream of the previous night came back to her. Perhaps Kyota's changed attitude was part of what had been revealed to her. That is in the dream. She watched her son's movement with some anxiety, and even then she did not notice when he slipped out the compound. It was later that afternoon when an infuriated mob gathered outside Malam Shehu's gate, holding a bleeding Kyota before them. He stole my donkey, shouted a roughly dressed farmer. He gambled with it and lost it. Now the man to whom he lost his sold it back to me. I want my money back. Without question, Malam Shehu paid the man his due, and the mob departed in peace. He took the boy indoors and placed him under lock and key. One thing worried him. He was a man who hated publicity bringing him. He paid a number of strong men to take his son to school and to bring him back when school was over. But even at school, it was difficult to control him. He stole slates from the one boy and stole to another, and stole to another, sold, okay, and sold to another. He cursed his friends' fathers, and within short time, the attendance at the school had been reduced to less half. The parents were withdrawing their children because of Kyota. Okay, the parents were withdrawing their children from the school because of
his behaviors.
Malam Shehu spent sleepless nights trying to discover a way by which he could keep the boy under check. But every day the boy grew worse. All the medicine men he called charged him fabulous amount, and after they had prescribed a course of treatment for him, the boy grew rapidly worse. Very soon, villagers became tired of carrying reports of his misbehavior to the father himself. They prepared to approach the king. Continue, madam.
So because of all this, Shehu dared not to appear in public. He hid himself in shame. And even within his own household, the two other women spent most of their time laughing at him. They would giggle at Zenobe and say, "Thank Allah we have no children. Rather than have thieves as children, we prepare not to have none. We will prepare to have none." One evening, Keuta stole a bag of money belonging to his father, and with a ladder scaled to the wall around his father's house, he went to a drinking house, and the platers praised him as he distributed the money to them in handfuls. The women clung to him and played gentle music in his ears. He was distributing the last few shillings of more than 100 pounds when three men entered the drinking house and seized him. They dragged him back to his father. In the morning, Malam Shehu sent him under custody to his teacher. "I leave him in your care," was his message, "since he was determined not to respect me. I cannot keep him here. Let it not be said that I killed my own son." The teacher placed Keuta under a strict guard, and when the boy was not studying, he was detained in a guard room. Soon, reports came to Malam Shehu that his son was rapidly improving in his behavior. But the old man was skeptical. "Let him remain there until he is quite cured of his madness." But Zenobe pressed him to release the boy, and aided by the teacher, they soon won Shehu over. Keuta was allowed to follow the boys, who went in the evening to collect food. The boy was cutting the long grass when the madness again came over Keuta. They turned to them and said, "Goodbye, I leave you in peace." He put down the curved knife he had been using, the bottle and bolted. Malam Shehu's biggest heartache at this time was the fear that Keuta might land him in some public disgrace that would involve his appearing before king. More than once, the prophecy of Malam Sambo came back to him. Would his son really prove a source of ill luck and ruin for him? 7 days after he had left the protection of his teacher, Keuta appeared before his father's salesman in the market. He greeted the trader and said, "My father sent me to you." He greeted the trader and said, "My father sent me to you. We were holding a little festival in the house.
Nice.
And come in and sit down. This is a great honor. Malam Shehu's son visited my market stall." Keuta went into the stall and made himself comfortable. He said nothing about his intention, but sat quietly in a corner, watching the customers come and go. Presently, the trader's man excused himself and went out. He had seen a man carrying a rare cloth which he had been wanting to buy. When he came back to the store, Keuta was gone. "Well," he reasoned, "I did not send for him. He came of his own free will. Why should I bother myself about his departure?" He raised the matin so as to obtain money with which to pay his dealer. Every penny which had kept was gone. His suspicions at once went to the customer in the neighboring stalls. He made the market police arrest them, and they were taken before the magistrate. The suspected man said that they had seen a boy leave the store rather hastily. They described him minutely, and every word they said to the tradesman gave an accurate picture of Kyauta. Do you know this boy? Asked the magistrate. Yes, he is the son of my master, Malam Shehu. How long have you known him? Can you vouch for his honesty? I have known his honesty well. Is that you think that because he is the son of the wealthiest man, he cannot steal? I am sending people at once to arrest him. Policemen dispersed in various directions, and presently those of them who had gone to the gambling house returned with Kyauta in their midst. They found open his person the sum of 10 pounds. Did you remove this money from the marketplace? Did you? Yes. Did you remove this money from the market stall? No, I didn't. But you visited the trader today. I did. Where were you when you went away? He went away. You asked me unknowing questions. Are you trying to say that I stole something from him? Is he not my father's servant? Why did you not tell him when you were ready to leave? I was not feeling very well. I couldn't wait. And you did not leave a message. Why should I? I came straight to his house where my friend offered to take care of me by revealing you of the money. Kyauta was silent. The policemen were completely baffled. Listen, little boy, you are still very young. No one can send you to prison. Tell us the truth. No ill can come of it. The loss of the money is not fault of yours. Kyauta relented. All right, I took the money. The policeman asked the trader how much money he had kept under the mat, and he said 50 pounds. Was that the amount you took? They asked Kyauta. Yes. And where is the rest? I have gambled it away. They took him and put him in the guardroom. Malam Shehu wept when he heard the news. I have always known that boy would land me in trouble. He went at once to the market and paid. His son was released, and we took him home, placing him once again under lock and key. For 3 days he gave him no food to eat, but on the fourth he took him a little quantity of milk in a bowl. Zainab's motherly heart. Release him, she begged. I promised to take care of him. Malam Shehu refused, but his wife persisted, telling him how Kyauta had improved and how courteous he was. She kept on weeping and praising him day after day until at last his heart